Hey everyone, welcome to the study where we want to encourage others to dig deeper into God's Word. Are you a Christian who is single and you're ready to settle down? Well, then this is the video for you. Today we're going to be looking at relationship principles from a biblical perspective. And I believe that every Christian should consider these principles when they're looking for that special person to settle down with. Today I have a very special guest to introduce you to. His name is Pastor Douglas Naa, who is currently the program director at SOL, which is a soul winning and leadership training program in Tennessee at Southern Adventist University. Welcome, Pastor Doug. Thank you for joining us in this session. And I guess the first question that I have for a person that is ready to settle down and is looking for the one, does the Bible offer principles in regards to finding a spouse?
Yes, it does. There are many, but let me just throw out a few that comes to the top of my mind here. First of all, the Bible gives the principle of being converted. I think that's one question. One question you have to ask yourself in terms of preparing yourself to getting married or finding the right spouse is asking the question, look, am I converted? Is my life in the hands of God? Do I have that assurance that by faith, of course, do I have that assurance by faith that I have, that I'm living all in accordance to, what God has shown me in his word? I think that's also that's a question that the person on the receiving end has to ask too. When they're being pursued, is this person converted? Has this person fully submitted himself into the hand of God? Does this person love God more than me? So that would be, like, to me, the first and the most important foundational question is your spiritual life. Now, once you have answered that question, then the next follow-up question should be, okay, now that I know by faith that my life is in the hands of God, the second principal question you should ask yourself is, what is God's calling for me? What's God's trajectory in my life? And I think that's very, very important because once you know what God's calling is in your life, in order to be compatible with another person, you've got to have those same goals. You've got to have the same calling. I've talked to people, and he has a calling to be a medical doctor here in America, but she wants to start an orphanage in Africa. Now, those are great callings, you know what I mean? But look, I mean, in all practical sense, how's that going to merge? I mean, really, you really think that 70% of your marriage, you're in Africa and he's over here? So again, they could both be God's calling, but of course you want to find someone that has the same calling as you. But in order for you to know your calling, you've got to go back to that foundational question: am I converted? Do I have that assurance of salvation? And I think that to me is an interchangeable principle. It applies to both genders, both man and woman. That's not gender bias. So right. I think that to me is a foundational principle that one must clarify in their mind, and one must understand before they pursue someone that they want to get married to. I think another principle that the Bible gives in terms of finding a spouse is, the book of Proverbs says, in the counsel of multitude there was wisdom. And, you want to find. Don't go about this independently. Let me just put it that way. Don't be a one-man gang. And because at the end of the day, you have blind spots. We all have, and sometimes our emotions can get the best of us. So having someone godly, looking from the outside in, who's not really invested in it, but they can see things, that you may be blinded to. I think that will prevent you from getting into a lot of heartache in the future, is finding good, godly counsel,
Hmm.
wise advice, be it from, and I want to underscore the word godly, because there's advice, but there's godly advice.
Right.
And
Exactly.
in order to get godly advice, you need to find godly people. There are friends, but there are godly friends.
Hmm.
And so I would seek the advice of those that are committed, that are dedicated, that are godly, that are objective, and have your best interest in mind.
Hmm.
So that's another principle that's interchangeable. It applies to both both guy and girl.
Hmm.
Um, Another principle, and I'll probably elaborate on this later on, is um, associating yourself with groups. Going where young godly people congregate.
Do you have
Spirit.
any suggestions of where those places would be? I'm just
Yeah. Look, look. There's a lot of youth meetings. Look. Here's my personal opinion. I feel that you find the best people, that are active in the mission field. Be a missionary. Meet fellow missionaries. These are young people who have dedicated a year of their life, from 20 to 21 or 23 to 24. And they're out in the field. They're active. They're not lazy doing nothing.
right.
They're helping build a school. They're being a missionary teacher here. They're being a medical doctor here, or they're helping just build a house here. People who are active in the work. You wanna associate. You wanna be close to those kinds of people of the opposite gender. If you're a guy, find a fellow missionary. That are females that are out there. So I think, like, associating yourself with groups
Get
that are involved,
Right.
not just redundant, dormant, doing nothing at home,
Right.
but they're actually involved in the work.
I have
Um,
a question before you continue on. I think my question would be, what if you do find someone and you both do have a call on your life and you want to work it out? Would one person have to give up something in order for it to work?
Again, there has to be some communication between you and that person.
Mm.
There has to be some expectations. There has to be some understanding right up front at the get-go. Being very honest and transparent with each other up front. Now, of course, you can negotiate. You could say, I'm still halfway in my medical school. How about for now, you work and I'll I'll go to school. And I've seen couples like this, and then you help me pay my way through school, and then when I finish, then you go to school. So I mean, it just boils down to communication. And having something up front, but not jumping into something blindly, and then find out later on that, like, no, but you said this, no, and then it becomes a he said, she said. So yes, it can work out. If there are expectations, you communicate up front. But I mean, if she says, like, look, no, I'm going to be in Africa for the rest of my life,
And I'm not willing to work this out.
yeah, not willing to work this out. You know what I mean? So look, you can work things out. And you must be open to the Lord's will. Because sometimes the calling can change halfway.
Hmm.
And you have to be open and transparent in yourself, in the sense that, hey, look, I must be open to this. For example, like, look, the girl could marry the guy who's a medical doctor, and your motives must be right. And then the medical doctor, your husband later on says, you know what, I feel a call to being a pastor. Now, look, man, the salary's gonna change. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna go from being rich to a poor pastor.
Right.
And so, but if you chose that person for the right reason, then no matter what calling they're in, whether they go from being a medical doctor to being a pastor, you're still gonna be with that person.
Amen.
You marry that person because of their calling, rather than marrying that person. Yeah, calling's part of it, rather than marrying that person because they're converted.
Hmm.
And so I've seen people who've actually changed callings, halfway in their life. They've gone from a high-paying job to like a broke volunteer for the church because of conviction. And so, and I've seen the results happen both ways, where I've seen where the spouse has left, and I've seen where the spouse has stuck with it. So,
Wow.
there has to be that heart motive of why you're marrying this person, because the calling could change.
Amen.
And but communication, expectations, you gotta lay that out up front.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed that little chat that we had with Pastor Douglas Na'a. If there are any biblical relationship principles that we did not include in our list, please comment below. Let us know what worked for you. We love to hear from you. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button. We upload every Friday. And if you follow us on Instagram and Facebook, you will get our latest post of what we're up to. And possibly, if you can, join our study session that we have at the end of every month, which is an online Bible study that is open to anyone that wants to join. All right. Take care. God bless. And we hope to see you in the next episode.